Hey, Steve Zelenardi here. Welcome to another episode of Sunshine State of the Market. This is our special guest, Niv Buzzetta. She's our business broker out here in Southwest Florida. She's going to be attending our conference, our seminar that we're going to be hosting end of February into March. And it's the first time you're going to be live in Canada, right? First time visiting Canada?
First time visiting Canada. It's
nice.
Exciting. Not ready to get out of the warm weather, but still looking forward to seeing how cold I can take it.
Well, the whole goal of our seminars is to save as many souls as possible. One with the country, but also with the weather. So when we get down there, we want to get as many people motivated to move down here as well. So that's why we got you on board and also Indira on board. This is like a West Coast connection. Again, you still sell businesses on both sides of the border.
Yes.
Of border, rather, both sides of Florida. Can you do Central Florida as well? Like
Absolutely, I can
the whole
show
state of
businesses for the entire state of Florida.
Okay, cool. So if you're interested in businesses in Florida, obviously Niv's going to help you guys out with that. We got some questions right now that we're going to put forward. Again, these are not going to be full-blown answers. Why? Because we obviously want you to come to the seminar and it'll be too lengthy during the podcast. So our first question was, what are the biggest misconceptions Canadians have about buying a U.S. business for immigration?
Well, thank you for saying that. Actually, there's quite a few. Just to highlight some, one of the first things that I always notice about when Canadian buyers approach me about taking a look at the business is that they think that they need to find the business first. Actually, what you really should do is engage an immigration attorney first. You want to be steps ahead of time. You want to be ahead of yourself in terms of before you even look at businesses. It's going to be easy to find a business. You have the right advisor in place, you're going to be able to contact and get a business. It might not be exactly what you think you're looking for, but you're definitely going to find something that will be a good fit for you and is available and fit the criteria that you might need as for an E2 visa.
I agree totally with that, and that's the same misconception with clients that I come down. They want to go look at houses first and communities. I get it, guys. But moving to Florida from Canada is going to be a win no matter what. So you're going to find the great community. The weather's going to be ideal. But you're right. Always get in contact with your immigration attorney. Set a plan up. Get your advisors in place, like you mentioned earlier, and then away you go. You're going to be in the right frame of mind to make the right decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's exciting moving. I did the same thing. I used to live in the Northeast. I moved down
Jersey,
here.
you said? Was it Jersey?
I lived in New Jersey, worked in New York, and I wanted to do the same exact move, go from colder climate to warmer climate, and it was exciting times. I think one of the things that we look at when we're moving, and I've been there, so I can speak from experience, is like, you get excited. You see a home that you like, oh, it's exciting. You see a business that you like, it's exciting. The pitfall that I want everyone else to avoid is that you see that home or you see that business that you like, and then you realize, wait a second, this seller's not going to wait around for me. I might be, depending on what stage I am, if I'm not engaged with an attorney already, then I might be 8 months out. And is this seller going to wait 8 months before they sell their home or sell their business? They're really not going to. Not unless you're, build that relationship. So I look at myself more or less as a matchmaker for people, because unlike a home, when you sell it, you're done with the sellers. With the business, you're still involved. They're still going to train you. They're going to guide you in terms of how to handle their team and how to handle this business. And you want that relationship to go forward. So between that match to work, you also have to be on the same timeline. So getting back to it, you can cut that timeline shorter to, even possibly 3 months if you're ahead of the game, or you have to, wait the 8 months, and you better hope that that seller is understanding and, is going to wait for you.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, because again, unless you did a condition on the approval of your E2 or E1
we normally
visa,
do that.
Yeah,
but you get to a certain point where, unless it's like at the last minute, there is a in all contracts that we have, there's what's called time is of the essence, and if you don't show that you're moving along as fast as you can to get this process completed, then they have due cause to cancel the contract. So just always keep that time is of the essence back in the back of your mind.
So this is amazing. Again, we're building this seminar out, and we thought about this because the last one off the questions here. I was looking at the whole process, and I'm like, okay, so we have attendees that are coming here to move to Florida. What business do they create? So I was looking at it so this is again, call in Niv here, because it's ultimately, you're going to, even during the seminar, they're going to have an opportunity to kind of see where they're going to live, how they sell their house in Canada, and then also yourself, which businesses you're going to provide to them. So it's going to be like a no-brainer. And then also the immigration attorney applying that visa to the business that you're selling. So this is the whole point. I wish I had introduction to you yourself when I made this journey about 3.5 years ago, because it would have been a lot easier instead of I actually create everything ground up, which is, I don't advise it. It's like a pain in the ass. It's like, it's a lot of pitfalls. If you already have a business that's already has employees or income, it's a lot easier process for approval. Also, you're not dealing with the massive negative equity that you have to pump into your new business every year and not even knowing that if it's going to work or not. And,
absolutely. One of the biggest benefits of buying an existing business is the fact that they've already went through the hurdles, right? You already know that they have a track record, historical data, if they have any seasonality in the business, which, down in Florida, there's a lot of businesses in other parts of the country that they would have their ups and downs for seasonality. Here, we're busy all year round. We're just busier during the winter months.
Yes, it makes sense. Yeah.
So
how long you been down now?
I've been here for 10 years.
10 years. Okay. So you saw this obviously pre-COVID. So how was it pre and post?
It's just developed so much even since when I moved down here. And just to getting back to my story as well, just to give you a short summary.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was in corporate finance up in New York. My husband was in finance in New York as well. And we were just tired of not just the cold weather, we were tired of the rat race.
The grind.
It really was a grind. It was difficult. You didn't really see your families. You came home after it was dark, and here the sunshine is a lot longer. So that's another benefit. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But anyway, we just wanted a different quality of life, and I feel like we get that when we moved down here, is a quality of life. So we did quit our corporate jobs and take a look for a business ourselves, right? So that's why I'm familiar with the process. I know what buyers are looking and the angst that they're feeling in terms of is this going to work for me or not, and how's this going to be, and that's why I can go through it with the buyer's eyes, because I've been through it. Tell them where to look at and how to dissect a business to make it work for you.
That's amazing.
Right. And I will tell you, my husband and I got a business that neither one of us had any experience.
What kind of business was it?
It was a logistics company. So we were subcontracting for FedEx. And so it just, yes,
you still own it today?
No,
Okay.
We sold it about 5 years ago.
Okay.
Bought it, and then I went into business brokerage because I knew the ins and outs of the business as well. So that's why it's good for me to be able to work with buyers and sellers, because you can tell me any pitfall. I can tell you how it is to deal with employees, what you can do to help yourself versus what you should be avoiding. So there's those nuances, and the benefits, the pros and cons of any kind of business, depending on where you would be able to increase revenue versus decrease expenses, right? So those are the things that you're going to take a look at in the business. The best thing I can tell you is that you should have a CPA reviewing the financials of any business that you're looking at, but make sure that CPA is familiar with small businesses, because not any business is alike. Even within industries, there will be differentiations. What is things like, we will, during the seminar, we can cover things like, what are some of the add backs, what personal expenses the owner has in the business, how that is actually directly related to a benefit that you can have for the business, right? So there's a lot of nuances that we're going to be covering during the seminar.
I love it what you said as well, because you came from owning a business and you know the pitfalls of it. So even a lot of, let's say again, talking about the weather, everything you mentioned, cloudiness, the grind, that's what they're facing up north. But it's also an economic collapse as well on top of that, and politically it's in a bad place right now. So this is that's why we're having a lot of influx of Canadians moving out to the United States. It's the highest migration out of Canada since its history as a country. So imagine the mentality out there right now. But it's amazing what you're saying too, because if you have someone like yourself, a professional, can say, well, this is again, I have a lot of clients that are they're looking at their own business.com, whatever it is, and looking at businesses, but they don't know because they've never really operated a business. They've always been an employee. Right. Now they want to get into buying a business to attach it to a visa, an E2 visa. But at least you can kind of go through with them. Again, seasonality, like you mentioned, is this may not be good, 4 or 5 months out of the year. Can you afford to kind of carry it, or the pitfalls of employees? Or this is I think it's going to be great. I'm glad we're doing this talk as well too, just to kind of familiarize myself with what you can offer our clients from up north, for sure.
I mean, our firm, I'm with Edison Business Advisors. One of the reasons I joined the firm is it's very education based. You know, we're a boutique firm, but we focus on educating buyers and sellers in terms of the entire process, what they should be looking out for. Because, you know, you're a smart individual. If you're looking to move down here, you've already made a smart choice. So why not enhance your own knowledge about the process and make it easier on yourself? You know, can you get to it by yourself? Sure you can. But will it take you longer and you'd have to do all the research yourself? Yes, it would. You know. Yeah,
it's almost like buyers doing their own searches for real estate again.
Absolutely.
It's the same idea. Like you don't know the pitfalls of a community. If you're in a flood zone, you're not in a flood zone. It's like you hire a professional in the industry. And if it's if immigration attorney, yourself, whatever, an attorney for the LLCs, like you're going to get that whole, you're going to fast track this process through this process with a limited amount of mistakes and be successful on the tail end of this.
Absolutely. I mean, look, it's exciting to look online. I don't doubt that for a second. Hey, go right ahead. Look at homes. Look at businesses. Don't get your heart set on that particular home or that particular business.
Correct.
Because it might not be available when you're ready. What you do is partner up with your advisors, and that means multiple depending on what you're exactly looking to buy, and let them guide you through the process. Tell you what you need to have in place. What I do for my buyers is I put a strong package together for them, right? So we need a few things in order to get a buyer. It's a little bit different than the housing market. We need to have what's called a non-disclosure agreement. So that is specific to the business that you're taking a look at. You need to sign that. We create what's called a buyer's profile. Now that buyer's profile is going to have a little bit about the buyer in terms of their background, what their experience has been, what their strong suits are, and then also what they're kind of looking for, and a little bit more about their financials. You know, what is the price range of the business that's right for this individual, right? What can you manage? And don't ever only look at the price range for the business or what it's going to cost you to come over here. Also take a look at, hey, what's my working capital going forward? You know, you're going to be running this business. It's not like you're done as soon as you get approval and you bought the business. So, okay, I'm sitting pretty. No, you know, now you're running an active business. What's your working capital going to look like? What are your resources going to be going forward, right? So all those components you want to take a look at in advance of even looking at the business, okay? And so that's the kind of package we put together so that when we're targeting these businesses that are on the market, we put it so that this is a ready and able buyer, not somebody who's window shopping. Big difference between window shopping, because a seller's not going to want a meeting with a window shopper. They want to meet with someone who's serious.
Pre-qualified, ready to go.
Absolutely. So how do you show you're serious is basically, you know, you have this package together and you're further along in your immigration process. You've already met with the attorney. They've given you what you need, because I can't tell you, there's been a few applications for Canadian buyers or any E2 visa buyers that have been delayed because they didn't have their own paperwork done. You know, yes, you're going to need paperwork on the business, but if you get all of yours out of the way, that's going to shrink your timeline in terms of what the visa process is going to take.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I love it that you're saying, so it's all due diligence prior. Another thing you mentioned as well, so when they're dealing with you as a business broker, you have that whole back end of all the business associates that you need, like the CPA, attorneys, whatever one attached to it, that you need for the process to initiate the deal, during the deal, then close the deal, and then after the deal. So it's a whole set of professionals they'll be getting when they deal with yourself and your company, right?
Absolutely. One of the biggest strong suits of working with an advisor, in my opinion, is that they know what they know, but they know who to contact for what they don't know. And I've been in the community for a long time, and at our firm, we have all the contacts that you might need, not just to get the deal completed, but going forward, you know, hey, my accounting is not my strong suit. Can you help me find a bookkeeper? Absolutely, we have a whole bunch. Let me send you an email to interview these individuals, right? So we can tell you who to go to instead of for you just doing a random search on it and not knowing if there's any.
I went through all this. It's a growing pain. I'd go Google and I found a lady in this community, and then she moved to West Virginia. So Virginia was, you know, now it would have been easier if I was introduced to you prior. I would have gone a different route, to be honest. In
one way, it's a hit or miss, but if you have an advisor, you have a track record for 100%. These individuals.
I'm one for hiring everybody, to be honest. Yeah, there's no point of doing it on your own. You're gonna slow the process down, and it usually turns out like shit at the end. So you might as well just hire on.
We're coming up
Okay, great. So we'll go into some questions as well. We'll keep it going here. Can you walk us through a real Canadian client who bought a business and successfully relocated? I know you mentioned like different price ranges and stuff like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So a lot of the Canadian buyers that approach me, right, and I'll just give you a typical scenario, their price point is anywhere between 100 to 500,000, or even sometimes 750,000, depending on the size of the business. If they really like it, they'll definitely spend more than that. But essentially, the types of businesses that are popular in this group are basically restaurants or cafes, or any kind of resale franchises that work very well. Down here in South Florida, service-related businesses are very popular as well because of the recurring revenue.
Give me an example of a service.
Absolutely.
Business?
So service-related businesses, anything with landscaping. I know up in Canada you have your summer landscaping, and then you have your snow removal. Down
same
here,
as Jersey, yeah.
Same as Jersey, exactly. But down here you have landscaping all year round. They're taking a look at doing the maintenance all year, and then when the snowbirds come, as they call it, they pick up a lot more in terms of actual project work. So it's a full year-round business. You don't lay off employees; they're needed all year round. Okay. So there's a lot of service maintenance. I wouldn't recommend going for a business, landscaping businesses required licensing. So I wouldn't recommend them unless you actually are doing landscaping up in Canada. So that's another point, right? If it's something that you already know, have familiarity with, and historically have been doing, stick with that. That would be your best bet in terms of purchasing a business down in Florida. If you want to do something different, you feel like a little excitement.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You can still do it, but talk to your advisor about, hey, is this business going to require licensing? For the most part, most sellers allow you to work under their license for 1 year.
Okay.
But I wouldn't want you to come down here and become a general contractor, because that takes time to get the licensing. So these are all the factors that you have to consider.
What I tell Canadians as well is, from coming up north down here, it's like it's an unwritten book, but you have all the knowledge, so you can write every chapter new. So you don't have to. Again, some like I've tailed on to what I did here, but I mean, ultimately, if you're buying a business, you can do something that you're passionate about. Especially, if you're familiar with up north too, like housing prices are astronomical, so a lot of them have a lot of equity built up in their homes. So even if they don't have the cash in hand, once they unload their assets, few investment properties, their primary residence, they're into, they're having hundreds and sometimes millions of dollars that they have out here to have a new life, right? So.
Absolutely. No, and reinvesting your capital and growing it when you come down here is one of the biggest reasons to actually get a business that's going to give you growth. The thing I would be mindful of, if the business is a little bit out of your pocket and you're thinking, oh, I want something smaller, and there are some seller financing options. I mean, I know that Canadians don't really qualify for an SBA, which is what a lot of U.S. Buyers use.
What is an SBA? Sellers.
Small. Thank you.
Small Businesses Administration.
Yeah. Okay. So you see all the stuff I forget.
Who cares? It's all good.
Small Business Administration financing. So basically, the difference between regular financing for a home is that you have collateral on a home. With a business, most of it is goodwill, right? So that's why Small Business Administration came out with SBA financing to be able to finance businesses, right? Canadians, unfortunately, would not qualify for that. However, there is seller financing, but that would be for larger deals, right? When you're going more towards the 500 or the $1 million range, then you would think about a component of seller financing. And keep in mind, sellers will have criteria as well. If you don't have any background in the business, are you really a good bet for them to finance the business to you?
And that's a package you put together up front.
Right. So those are things that I advise. I mean, we have everything outlined in the package in terms of when you're buying it. We already have contract templates for when you were ready to make an offer, things to consider when you're making the offer. Anything that's industry specific, basically when you're analyzing a business or working on due diligence, hey, this is a landscaping company versus a restaurant. What's different in terms of what I should be looking at, right? And those are all the things that we can help you with and advise you on.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, this will fast track everything. Even with licensing, I guess what we mentioned earlier in the podcast here is like when you speak to your immigration attorney, you're gonna bring in what are you doing back up north.
Right.
I have a contract. Like I have a friend that moved down here. He's an electrical contractor. He just came down on an L1, which is basically a southern branch of what he has up north. So it was kind of easy. He came in here. They gave him the opportunity to write his license, and now he's running, a pretty big practice right now, electrical contracting.
That's amazing.
So I mean,
Yeah.
and that's something after the immigration attorney, advise them how to get the licensing, all that stuff. Then you can contact yourself, and then maybe there's a business available.
Absolutely.
Electrical contracting, plumbing contractors.
Yeah.
So we are like so like where we live. For your familiarity, it's like the 5 boroughs of New York City. It's like it's like Diker Heights,
Yeah.
a little bit of Staten Island, like all those Italian communities like that, like entrepreneurial, self-employed. A lot of these guys like that and gals like that.
Yeah.
So just kind of get an idea. It's gonna feel like that as well. Italian
Absolutely.
restaurants everywhere.
Yeah. So that's another item is that, service-related businesses. You definitely have the electrical, the plumbing, the HVAC. Those are all very popular down here. Anything with...
I love that you say HVAC. Everyone says HVAC here.
Oh.
It's like, what is this? We call it HVAC. It's it's a Florida thing, but
Yeah.
maybe up north you guys will say it the same as us. HVAC.
Yeah,
No, we exact same thing. Everyone's like HVAC. Okay, but anyway.
No, but those are very, very popular. But at the same time, right, you have to take a look at the county that you're moving to. Each county actually has different requirements on licensing, and those are also, you should keep those in mind.
Okay, cool. And that's obviously attorney will get that, and you would have that information as well.
Actually, I would guide them on it as well.
What licensing?
In terms of what licensing would be required. I mean, the attorney would definitely take a look at it. Not the immigration attorney, regular attorney, but it might come up during your interviews, immigration interviews especially. So it's something that you should always have in the back of your mind. God forbid the interviewer is actually familiar with the county and what they require. So it's better for you to be prepared for all, rather than not have the answers at the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Another question, what will people learn at the seminar with your section, let's just say, your business brokerage section? I know we went through most of it now, but if you had to sum it up in a few points, what would they be getting from your presentation?
I mean, and I said, as I said, there's a lot that you can find online, and you would have to do your own research to be able to find it. But you can get the definitions of the terms that we use and kind of make yourself familiar. But can you get the real life examples? Can you get the market trends? Can you really know what's going down in Florida and how the county is changing the licensing requirements, why, or what effects this may have on the business in terms of future growth, right? You want to be able to get someone who advises you, not historically what's occurred, but also what may be occurring in the future. And you can't get that unless you're talking to someone who's local, who's been here for a long time, who knows what's going on with the area.
Absolutely. Amazing. And you're pre and post 2020, so that's huge as well, because you saw it before, now you see where it's heading right now, which is awesome.
The growth has been amazing. I mean, businesses are only going to just keep growing.
Absolutely.
You just have to be able to follow the trends in the right manner, adhere to the requirements that the government puts aside in terms of that township. But there's nothing but growth and opportunity down here still.
I look at it too, I always tell people, on paper, I shouldn't be here with my family, on paper. We had, up north, it's still going really well now, but a very successful business, ton of real estate, investment properties, the house, the community, everything was, the cars, everything was done. And family was, 10 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
So on paper, we should not be here. And it's obviously post 2020, it's literally bringing in so many families here to Southwest Florida. And it's become young, it's become hip, it's become cool. There's a lot of stuff to do, and a lot of families, out this way from the Midwest, the Northeast. It's and up and from Canada as well now. So
when I moved down here, I took a look at the community that we moved to, a lot of HOAs and communities down here, and I took a look at the community, and I would say it was 60% retirees and 40, maybe even
Naples,
less.
right?
Yeah, Naples. Yeah. Less in terms of families. And now you look at the same communities, and I bought nearby, and it would be 80% families.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many more schools and programs, and I wanted to move my kids when they were young, and I went through the school system here. I mean, I did some hardcore looking in terms of the great areas to live down here, and it's beautiful, and I love it.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
it was awesome.
you.
Appreciate it. So we look forward to, I guess we can sign off now, but we look forward to seeing you guys at the end of Feb. You can meet Niv in person, ask her any questions you need, and obviously attend the seminar to get the full preview of how to get a business in Florida, not Southwest, but all of Florida.
Okay.
That's awesome.
That's great. Thank you.